I'm Sky Crystal. I'm culturally confused and creatively liberated, and today I'm going to film a plant tour of my 100+ plants, and I am excited. I'm excited about it. I'm really excited to edit it. Filming it, I'm a little bit reluctant, so let's just get straight into it. Yeah, let's go. We'll start with a shelf. Okay. I don't know where to begin. Okay, so we'll start at the top and work our way down. Here we've got a Syngonium tri-leaf wonder. I think it's called that. I'll put all the names on the screen, as many as I know, because there's a few that I don't know. I've had this for a little while. I've got another one growing over there as well, and I love this plant. It's really cute. It's pushed out one new leaf since I've had it, and it's pushing out another one sitting now as well. You can't see it, but it's just pushing it out there. And I'm really excited to see this one grow and trail off the shelf. And then at the back here, I've got a Rhaptophora tetrasperma, which is one of my pride and joy plants. And it was growing up over there, but it was producing really small leaves with no fenestration. So now I've moved it up there and it's pushing out new growth. And it's a little bit bigger. It's pushing out new growth that I'm happy with, apart from these two leaves, which were like just baby leaves. I'm excited to see this one grow as well. I'm excited to see them all grow, basically. I'm going to move quickly through these. And then I've got a Philodendron squamiferum, which I absolutely love these. I think they're called petioles, and they're fuzzy and red when they mature, and this one's pushed out a new leaf since I got it. I want to see this one grow up a moss pole, so I'm going to order a moss pole and it's going to grow up a moss pole. And then the leaves hopefully should mature. And I have these growing under grow lights up here, which are quite far away, but they also get some indirect light from a north-facing window. And then I've got a Philodendron micans, which is not looking in the best condition. Luna has been attacking it the whole time I've had it, so this one's pushing through. I'm going to try and propagate it and make it more full. It's got some trailing bits, but that I'm going to wait until next summer because it's pushing out some new growth here. So I'm really excited to make that propagation dream occur. We all want full plants, don't we? Not cat attacked ones. And then I've got a Philodendron gloriosum, and this is its newest leaf. It's not looking as happy as I want it to, so I'm going to repot it. I'm ordering some soil from Soil Ninja, and I'm going to have a great time repotting every single plant that I have. I'm not joking, I'm going to be repotting virtually every single plant and working my way through an amazing amount of soil. I'm so excited. Yay! And then I've got a string of heart, variegated string of heart, that is quite long. I had to chop it back because Luna was eating it, but it's pushing out loads of new growth as well, so I'm really happy with that. And it's not pink, so I'm hoping over the summer next year I'm going to move this over to the window and hope that it gets some sun, natural light that will produce more of the pink in the leaf colouring. I love that. Then I've got a Philodendron melanochrysum. These are its import leaves. I had to propagate it to save it. There's its other leaf here, which is propagating in clay balls at the moment. Semi-hydro mix, so just water and clay ball. And I'm hoping that pushes out some new growth, and so does this. If not, I'm just going to buy another one. I'm buying another one soon. It's a different variety and I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to share it, but I haven't got it yet, so I can't do that, sorry. But yeah, this is my Philodendron melanochrysum. I love it. And this is my Philodendron verrucosum, and this is its newest leaf, which is looking a little bit dry on this side, so I'm gonna try and mist it a little bit more, which doesn't really help. I think I need to put it in the greenhouse, but the greenhouse is full, and you'll see that in a minute. I love these plants. I've had really bad luck with them though, and I've said this in previous videos, and it really frustrates me because I just want them to grow for me. So I'm really hoping and praying that this one pushes out a new leaf soon. Maybe not over the non-growing season of the winter's variety, but please grow for me. Grow, grow. I love you so much. I'm going to repot you into some new soil and you can grow up that moss pole. You can grow up that moss bulb, okay? Conversations with plants. And then I've got something that I cannot pronounce, but I'll put the name up on the screen. And it produces flowers as well, so I'm excited to see next summer this one flowering and just doing its thing. I've got another one over here on the propagation station because I've propped it so I can make it more full at the top. And then I've got a Monstera adansonii mint variegated cutting that I took off the mother plant, which the mother plant is not looking as lush as this one, can I just say. She's gonna grow back over hopefully in the greenhouse, but this one lives on the shelf and is acclimating to a normal humidity. I've been having issues with bugs recently, mealybug specifically, so I'm trying really hard to keep the plants in the best condition and look after them and keep an eye on them. So I spray them down with neem oil and washing up liquid, and every so often, and I'm hoping that it just kind of keep it at bay. So it's really frustrating because I'm trying to, they just go for these ones as well. So please refrain from going for the rare plants, please, 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 because look how lush it's looking. Look how happy it is. Just let it grow. You know, we have a satin pothos. I want to repot it eventually. As soon as I've got soil, I will do that into a bigger pot because it's growing quite well over there by the grow light. But I love these satin pothos. I've got a couple and different varieties as well. So I've got a little mini collection of these. Not as much as, it's not as flush as the Monstera and Philodendron collection, because Monsteras and Philodendrons are my ultimate favourites. I have variegated adansonii, which has also been having issues with bugs recently, so I need to spray this down after I finish filming. And yeah, it's pushed out, I thought it was reverting, but it's pushed out a variegated leaf, so I'm really happy about that. And I want it to grow bigger, but it's under the grow light and I'm hoping it will grow bigger and push out more growth, just like the mint variegated Monstera has done. So, and that's just here. And that stays in the little greenhouse. And then I have Philodendron Florida Beauty, which I am absolutely in love with. Absolutely in love with. And I repotted it into a mixture of leca, sphagnum moss and perlite to see if that helps grow in this ceramic pot as well. So I'm not sure if, I'm probably going to repot it into the soil, but this is a temporary measure, and just to see how it grows in comparison to the one that's in soil, which I'm giving away. So yeah, I'm so happy I found this plant and it's really cute. I'm hoping it pushes out a new leaf soon. Then I have a tiny little sedum burrito that is growing a treat. I got this recently and it stays under a little glass cloche, and I want to find a little pot for it, but until I do, it's staying in its nursery pot and I'm just going to let it grow and trail down as long as it wants to. So, and it's got loads of little babies in it as well. You can see them there. And then I've got my little potato plant. It's not a potato, but it's a Stephania erecta, and it's not blooming at the moment, but I love it. I literally am in love with this plant. I've been searching for it for so long. I bought a bulb for myself and tried to keep it alive, but it never bloomed. It just kind of disintegrated into nothingness. And then I found this one at the Green Rooms Market in Fargo Village in Coventry. I found them from Green and Grounded, and I found it and I was literally in love and had to have it. So, and I've cut it back since and it's growing. I'm hoping it'll push out new growth next year, but until then I'm just going to water it very rarely. I squish the bulb to see if it's a little bit squishy, and then if it is a bit squishy I water it. If it's not, I don't water it. And that's basically how I look after this plant, and it lives on this shelf under the grow light. It was living in the window, but I don't think it was receiving enough light, so it's going over here on what I now call my Africa shelf. So it lives on the Africa shelf, and it's just plants that remind me of Africa. And this the Stephania erecta looks a little bit like nasturtiums, so, but I'll put up a thing up here so you can see it in bloom. And it just lives on the shelf now. And then in this cute little planter I have a Biophytum sensitivum, which is the sensitive plant, and it's really gorgeous. It's literally the tiniest little tree that I've got, and it reminds me of a Mimosa pudica. I don't think they're the same plant, but I'm hoping that one day I find some Mimosa pudica seeds and I can grow them myself. It stays on the shelf now because Luna kept knocking it over and it kept being all wimpy and sensitive, which is, you know, it's in the name. So I moved it up onto the shelf away from Luna, and it reminds me of the trees in South Africa that I absolutely loved. and I grew up in South Africa, so, but yeah. And then we have, in this also adorable little planter, a Fockia edulis, and they're from South Africa and Namibia, and they grow there. And I just wanted this because I love Cordex plants. I haven't had these for a long time, but I'm hoping that I can keep them alive through the winter and forevermore. And forevermore. And then I have a Hoya Carnosa Crimson Queen, which is just a little baby plant at the moment. And yeah, I love these Hoyas. I grew up with them with my parents and my grandparents having them, and the flowers are amazing. So one day when these are much bigger, I'm excited to basically see those again. And I've got a couple of Hoyas, not as many as I'd like, but I'm gonna be hopefully ordering another one. So I'll have at least 3 Hoyas to talk about. And then I've got a Serrapigia woodii growing in here. This used to trail a little bit more, but Luna really likes it. And now this is growing. I've kind of tried to pin it down a little bit so these new shoots can grow out and basically mature and trail down this beautiful planter that I found in a charity shop. Can you see it? Can you see it? Look at it. It's gold. It's got gold little fishies on it. I love it. And I can't wait for the plants to just trail down. And I'm like, yeah, trailing plants, yeah, and planters to match. Planters to match! And here we have another Hoya, a Hoya Sunrise. And these flowers, I haven't seen the flower yet for me, but I think this plant is a little bit immature as well. Even though it's a little bit bigger, I'm hoping that it pushes out enough growth over the next few, like, months. And I can see it blossom one day. I literally love the leaves on these ones. They're wax plants. They're so cute. And it trails down and it lives over here. And then I've got a mini baobab tree, a Denium baobab tree, which is literally the cutest thing ever. And all of these plants remind me of Africa in a way. So that's one of the reasons why I bought this, but I just really wanted a tiny baobab tree. I did. And then I found one. Well, I didn't know I wanted it until I saw it. And then I bought it. And now I'm a happy owner of a tiny baobab tree. And I got this from Happy Houseplants. And look at that root system. Look how gorgeous it is. Isn't it stunning? And this plant flowers as well. So I'm excited to see that. I don't know when it will flower, so hopefully it will flower soon. And then I have an Oxalis triangularis, and I love this plant. I have recently purchased this version of it because this is the non-variegated version. I have the variegated version, and I wasn't sure if this was the variegated version when I was buying it, but it turns out it's not. So I'm really excited to have 2 different versions of Oxalis. And this one stays under the grow light there, and it's all big and floofy and bushy, and I love it. I literally love this plant so much. I have the variegated version, as I said before, and that I had to cut back recently, and it's pushed out some new growth, and you'll see it now, but it's in the greenhouse. So, and then I have over here a Pileae peperomioides that my friend Rachel gave me, and I literally love it. I used to have a bigger version of this, but I sold it, and now I've got this version and this one, and now I can watch this one grow as well, because these grow quite fast. These are fast growers as long as I've got the right lighting conditions, and indirect light seems to be enough for them. So I've got this one under the grow light at the moment, but once it's a bit bigger, I'm gonna put it back on the table here because it will need some space eventually. So yeah, until that time, it's just gonna chill on the shelf. Okay, and then down here we have a Monstera albo variegata, and this is not in its best condition because Luna has dropped many a plant from this shelf onto it, and it's lost a couple of leaves. Here's one of them. And a few other leaves from other plants that I've just kind of pulled off. Yeah, a Monstera albo variegata, and then also a Philodendron Xanadu, which is also not looking great, but it's still pushing out some new growth. I've had this for about 3-4 years now, and it's grown a lot, but it's also had its fair share of damage, as you can tell by the leaves. But yeah, and then we've got a Thamatophyllum Saloom, or Philodendron Saloom, which is also not looking great, but is pushing out new growth. So I'm really happy to see that new growth because I don't want to give up on this plant. I've got another one over there, just there, and I love them. They're one of my favourite plants and I just can't wait to see these grow. This one's about to push out some new growth here as well. So we've got 2 plants in there and I'm hoping that they grow big and tall and bushy like I used to have in my previous flat. And then up here on this shelf we have a satin pothos cutting, a Cebu blue cutting, a Monstera adansonii narrow-form cutting. This one I don't think is going to survive, but this one I think is going to, and a Monstera mint variegata cutting in there, and a tiny little black kitten, and another tiny little black kitten. Hi Luna! Not gonna say anything. Oh, she's so cute. Gorgeous girl. And then we have my beautiful Cebu blue just trailing down here. It's really, really long and it's a lot, I think it's my longest trailing plant. And it grows over a meter long. And it also needs a major repot. And then next to it, in a macrame plant hanger, we have a Miranta lemon lime, which is pushing out new growth and I'm really happy with it. And it just sits in this window and yeah, Luna really likes to play with this one and this one. That's why some of the growth isn't looking great on the bottom end. But we won't give up. Okay, so over in the window here on my table I have a Philodendron Bilite Atabopensiae. I'll put the name on the screen, sorry I'm not very good at pronouncing that one. And it's just pushed out this gorgeous new leaf. Is he changing colour as it's growing? It's only recently unfurled, so it's not as deep the red on the underside of the leaf. So I'm excited to see that kind of materialise as time goes on. And then next to it, in this gorgeous little chair we've got here, we have a Philodendron Scandance Lemon Lime, and it's gorgeous. I love it. It wasn't in the right place, so it was producing really small leaves, so I've moved it into the window and now it just seems to be really happy. So I'm just letting that trail down there. And then next to it in this little jar I have a Philodendron Pink Princess, and there's 2 in there growing in sphagnum moss. And then I've got 3 of those little terrarium things and I'll show you the other 2 in a sec. But yeah, I found the Philodendron Pink Princess in with the one that I have now, and then there were 2 baby ones with it, so I put it in that to see how well it will grow, and then one day I'll pot it up when it's ready. So, and then the other 2 that I have on the other side, maybe we should talk about this beautiful thing here first. This Philodendron Royal Queen I got at a local, at Jean's Flowers in Rugby, and it's gorgeous. I absolutely love this little plant. It's not so little and it's got loads of baby offshoots that are going on here, and I'm going to have fun propagating from it. And I'm not going to propagate these bits until they're like really tall, because I'm really enjoying the leaf size at the moment. Isn't it gorgeous? So yeah, that's gorgeous and I absolutely love it. I've had it for about a few days now because I've basically found it, couldn't say no, and yeah, we'll see how that grows for me. And it's got its own little basket here, which I wish was a little bit bigger, but then at least it fits all the other stuff in here for me. And then over here we've got a Pileator Lumi, and it's not looking as good. I put it under the grow light thinking that was a good idea, but it just seemed to like disintegrate some of the leaves, and I'm keeping it kind of moist. I need to water it again. Yeah, and then I'm going to keep this over here in the main lighting of the natural lighting of the window, just here on the table. And then in these 2 terrariums I got these from Wilko, in the food section, so food storage containers, and they're doing great in there, so they've almost doubled in size since having them. They are a Philodendron Dean McDowell and a Philodendron verrucosum. I think that's the Dean McDowell and that's the verrucosum. I'm not entirely sure. These were grown by Tissue Culture and I bought them off plants.com, and I absolutely love them. and I'm going to get to see all growth stages of them. They are slow growers, but I think that's due to the fact that it's the lighting. However, they are growing, so I'm happy about that. And then in this little glass container, I have an Oxalis triangularis purpura. This is the variegated version of it. I'm going to put this back on because Luna will eat that. We don't want that. Yeah, so that's one of the plants that I've got growing. And then we move that. Here's a jade plant that is not in its greatest condition because it got mealybugs, so I had to cut back all of the foliage that was growing, basically all of the leaves that were growing, and they are soaking in a bucket of water at the moment to just try and get rid of the mealybugs. And yeah, so that's my favourite jade plant. And then it's also got, I'm not sure what this succulent is called. I'm sorry, I'm not good with succulent, but yeah, it's got a succulent growing in there. Oh, that grew from a cutting and it's doing really, really well. In here we've got Sansevieria cylindrica, Denium Desert Rose I think it's called, and then two of these little cactus guys, and then another cactus that's growing out the top and is really happy in this little mini terrarium greenhouse. And then over here we've got a tiny version of the burrito tail as well that I'm going to try and grow in here as well. And then over here we have Tradescantia pallida, which is not getting enough sunlight and that's why it's more green than purple, but it's still growing, so I'm happy that this is growing. These were all cuttings that I took earlier this year and they've been planted into soil and they're growing really happily in this window. So yeah. And then over here we have a few plants over here in the window and a couple of terrariums going on here and some propagation. So this is my prop station. These are all cuttings that I took earlier on in the year of a Monstera adansonii wide form, and there's 3 plants in here from 3 cuttings and they are growing really happily. The one leaf is looking a little bit sad, but hopefully I think that was due to ill watering on my part. So now I keep the soil moist at all times, not too wet to the point of root rot, but wet enough to keep it happy, and then increase the humidity around it basically. And then I spray it as well. And then I have Tradescantia zebrina, I think it is. These were cuttings from a plant swap from Rachel. Thank you, Rachel. I've finally potted them up into, they're finally growing and they're pushing out some new growth, so I'm really happy about that. Luna does try and attack it sometimes, as you can see here. And then I've got another cutting here that was a plant swap from Rachel. It's a spider plant here and it's really cute. And then I've got a cutting here of a plant that I can't quite remember what it is, so that's a no ID plant from, well, it's a no idea sky here. And then I've got a Monstera siltipicana cutting growing in some water, a Peperomia hope cutting growing in some water, and some Hoya sunrise cuttings growing in water as well. Some golden pothos cuttings growing in water, and another cutting of Monstera adansonii wide form growing in water. And then this plant here, which it's kind of like taken up the entire thing here. I'll put that up there for the time being. I can't pronounce the name, so I'll put it up on the screen. But here's a cutting I took, and I'm going to plant this back into the original plant. That's on the shelf over here. And then in here, which is all died down, Oxalis triangularis. So I'm going to open that at some point and get the bulb out and then plant that up into a different place. And then in here we have an assortment of cuttings in here of Adansonii mint variegated monsteras and wet stick cuttings of which are pushing out some leaf growth as well. And we've got a Monstera adansonii variegated version as well. So I'm hoping those push out some growth eventually. They are producing new leaf growth, so I'm really excited to see those grow into actual plants, because I'm going to keep all of the plants that I've grown from cuttings as mother plants and then prop from them eventually, so I can sell some of the cuttings eventually, and I'm really excited about it because I miss selling plants so much. So I'm excited to get back in the game, but I've got to grow some plants first, so that's what I'm doing. And then over here we have a philodendron Plougmanii, and this is its newest leaf. That's the newest leaf that it's pushed out, and I'm really happy with the growth that it's given me since I bought it from plants.com, and it seems quite happy in this plant. I didn't realise it was a crawling plant until I got it, and now I'm just going to let it crawl out of the pot and then prop it when I'm ready to do so, probably when it's like falling over. And then over here, another plant swap baby that is from Rachel, and it's pink. A trade scantia. I know it's a trade scantia, I can't quite remember which one, but yeah. And then I've got a pothos enjoy and a philodendron Brazil, and I love these two plants. These I have to add back into my collection after getting rid of them, because I miss them so much. So I'm really happy I found these, and the variegation on these are just sublime. I love them. Look how variegated that one is. It's like a lemon lime, but it's not. Yay! And then over here in the window is a philodendron golden dragon, and I thought this was the variegated version, but it's not a variegated version. It's pushing out loads of new growth, but the leaf growth is really small, so, and it's really leggy as well. So I'm going to propagate it in the summer and grow it. Hopefully it will grow back. The problem with the north facing window is I'm going to have to get grow lights for over here as well, and then hopefully that will help aid the growing process for this plant here, and then the leaves will be a lot bigger like the original leaves here. And then over here I have I think it's a Schefflera, but I'm not entirely sure of the plant ID. So it's pushing out some new growth, but it's not as happy as it could be. So I'm hoping that after a massive repot, Luna tried to repot it for me. There's like half soil gone. I don't know what's going on there. I'm too scared to look and investigate. So until I am ready to do so, I'm going to just leave it as is. And then over here we've got a Monstera Deliciosa that is also not looking in its greatest condition. It needs a repot and some fresh soil so it can live its best life. So I'm waiting for payday so I can get some soil and also basically repot everything before it's too late. And then in here I've got an assortment of succulents and cactus, one cactus and aloe vera. I don't know the names of all of these. Luna's been attacking it, so I need to just replant that at some point. And then it's got this plant as well that's just kind of growing everywhere. Here. It flowers yellow flowers. It's really pretty, but I've forgotten what the name is. And it's really a hardy plant. It's really difficult to kill. I'll give it that much, because I didn't like it at first, but now because of how much it's been through and how well it's growing and still growing, I'm really happy that I've got it. And I've taken loads of cuttings from it as well. So, and then over here I've got another aloe vera, some various jade plant. There's a South African version and an Asian version of jade plants in here. I'm not entirely sure. And then down here we have a Norfolk Island pine. That's going to be my Christmas tree forever and always. And I recently purchased this off Happy Houseplants and I'm really happy with it. It needs to be kept moist at all times, so I'm working really hard on making sure that it's moist but not too moist. And then over here I have a Thermatophyllum or Philodendron Saloon that I'm hoping is going to push out some new growth soon. This is my original one, which used to be a lot larger, but due to ill lighting, it's just kind of not growing as well as I'd like it to, but what can you do, eh? That's what we get when you live in a north-facing room. Yep. Okay, so over here we have Syngonium elbow. This is my most recent purchase as well. I got it on the same day as I got the Royal Queen Philodendron, and I'm absolutely in love with this plant. I'm blown away by it. It's so beautiful, and I've been told it's a fast grower, so I'm really excited to see this trail down even longer than it is already and just take over. And then I'm going to hang another macrame plant hanger here, and then have a couple of plants there and up here as well, and then get some more grow lights and then aim them that way, so then they'll just grow everywhere. I need it to be like this. And then over here I've got an asparagus fern, and then one day when this candle is finished I'm going to plant something else in here. And this also reminds me of South Africa. And I'm hoping it gets enough light in this area, but I don't think it is, and that's why I think it's going yellow. So I'm going to move it back over here and put the calathea over there instead. And this calathea, I'm not sure what the name of it is, but it's growing, and this was to commemorate me leaving my job and working on Wolf and Swallow full time, and I'm really excited about it. So this will grow with me and the business, and yeah. And then over here I've got a Monstera Peru, which Luna nibbled the tip of the new leaf off, so I'm hoping that this grows here and she just leaves it alone. And then I've got Global Green Pothos that is really happy in this corner. It's growing and producing new variegation on the leaves and everything, and I'm really happy with it growing here. And then we've got I can't remember the name of it, but it's an alocasia, so I'll put the name of it on the screen, and it's got a beautiful burgundy underside, and it's pushed out one new leaf since having it, and it's going more and more burgundy as the days go on. And then I've got my disco ball here, which is having a great time. And then we have this beautiful long trailing philodendron scandam, which is, the main plant is up here, growing up to the ceiling and growing all the way around here, and it's just poking out here, and it's surrounded by an abundance of plants as well. Here is a Scindapsus. I'm not entirely sure which one, which is really stressing me out because I want to know which one it is, and it just says Scindapsus on the pot, which is not helpful. But yeah, we've got Syngonium Tri-Leaf Wonder just here. This is the other one growing under the grow light here. And then we have a golden pothos that's growing and trailing down. Just one plant growing and trailing down, having a great time. And this one is a red arrowhead syngonium, and it's growing beautifully just here. Then we have Monstera adansonii wide form growing up there. That's going to trail down here one day. And then we have another Monstera here, Monstera siltipicana. Monstera siltipicana growing over here. And I love this plant. It's pushed out some new growth, which I'm really happy with, because I thought it wasn't going to be very happy when I moved it. But it's growing, and that's since I propped it, so I'm really happy about that. And then we have an Exotica, Scindapsus exotica, growing here, pushing out some lovely new leaves. And I used to have it over there, but I swapped it with the lemon lime, so I moved it back over here. I moved it over here, and then they grow in this planter. And then we have a Ficus elastica, which is one of my favourite plants ever. This I grew from one leaf cutting. The leaf is no longer with us, but the rest of the plant thrives, and I'm going to keep this plant forever in my collection because I love it. I absolutely love it. Again, reminds me of South Africa. And then next to it, I've got a Ficus Audrey that is still pushing out some growth, even though it's not been in the best condition. So again, I love the ficuses. I'm going to keep this one in my collection for as long as possible. And down here we have a calathea, and this is the fuzzy feathers one, but without the burgundy under the leaves, and it's really soft. And this is pet friendly, and this is why it's also on the floor. So Luna, if she wants to have a nibble, she can have a nibble of one of the pet friendly ones, but she doesn't go for those. And then over here, up here, we have a Maranta lecanera growing up here with a grow light. Sorry about the grow light. And then a Anthurium clarinervium, and then an Alocasia wentii, I believe, at the back. I'm not sure if it's a wentii actually, so don't quote me on that, but an Alocasia that's just there poking its head up. It's growing towards the light now. And then Monstera esqueleto. That is my pride and joy plant, and you can't really see it. And I'm going to try and move this one down here so I get some more natural light and I can get to see it more. And I put it next to that philodendron. So I'm going to try and make that happen at some point in the future. But then over here we have a monkey mask plant, or a Monstera adansonii narrow form I got from Happy Houseplants as well, and it's growing superbly. I think I need to water it again. It's a really thirsty plant and it's just growing here and trailing down here. I think I might move it into the window when I get some more, when I make more macrame plant hangers and get some more of those command hooks, because it needs some more light, I think. And then over here, my oldest plant that I own, Dracena or Dracena marginata dragon tree, that is growing really happily over here. It had a little bit of a pest issue, a bug issue earlier on in the year, but it seems to be growing fine now and pushing out a little bit of new growth. And then over here on the other side of the room, next to my bed, I have a Monstera deliciosa that is pushing out some, this is its newest leaf over here. And then a ZZ plant as well. And they're just happy growing over here. I'm going to repot this one up with the other one that I've got in the window. And then the Monstera will live there eventually, and it'll just be the ZZ plant here, and I'll get a ZZ Raven plant, and then the ZZ Raven plant will be here with the other ZZ plant. But until that time, the Monstera stays there. And then over here, another plant swap from Rachel, the Sansevieria. I'm not entirely sure of which one this is, but it's pushing out a baby and it's growing. It's grown, like, it's doubled in size since I found it, and now I'm really happy about that, because I was like, oh, I don't know if it'll grow in this area, but it seems to be growing just fine. And then this was a plant from my friend, and this is a Dracena marginata dragon tree as well. It's not in the happiest of conditions, so I'm hoping I'm going to try and move it into the window and see how it grows there. But until then, it's just kind of staying in this corner here. We'll see how that goes. So in the greenhouse, on my favourite shelf, is my favourite plant collection, favourite selection of plants. And we'll start in this corner. It's my Monstera Thai constellation. I'm trying to save it. It's currently in a mixture of leca, clay balls, perlite and sphagnum moss to stop it from getting root rot, which is what it got. I think I overwatered it. I'm not entirely sure what happened there, but we're trying to sort it out. And then over here I've got a Monstera obliqua cutting. And yeah, I'm really excited to see this one grow. It's pushing out some new growth here, and then it's in the same mixture as that to stop it from getting root rot, because I'm scared about it. I've had a lot of plants with root rot this year, so I'm just trying really hard not to overwater them. And in the back here I've got another Monstera Thai constellation, my baby Thai constellation with a half moon leaf, and I'm hoping that the variegation continues through and gets more half moon leaves, because this one has stayed really beautiful, so I'm hoping the rest do too. And then over here, Monstera mint variegata cutting, and I'm hoping that takes, it's pushed out some new growth just here, but I'm hoping it doesn't do what the other one did and get root rot and then kind of disappears. So yeah, that's what happened to this mint Monstera adansonii variegata I had, and it got root rot and it died. So I've got a couple more of those, so I'm hoping that they stay alive for and grow, and stay alive and grow basically. And then over here I've got a philodendron white wizard, philodendron wizard, and this is a baby, and as you can tell it's growing all right. It hasn't pushed out any new growth for me since I bought it, and it's next to a philodendron pink princess, a beautiful half moon leaf, almost a full half moon leaf, and it's pushed out some pink growth. And this one had root rot, and I pushed it into sphagnum moss and perlite mixture, and it's just growing happily under the grow light here. It hasn't lost any more leaves. It lost a couple of leaves, but then it's perked up a bit, so now I think it's happy. It's gonna grow, and I'll move that over there. And then over here we've got the variegated version of the Oxalis triangularis, and that's pushed out loads of new growth since I tried to save it, and you can kind of see the variegation, but yeah, I'm really happy that that's pushing out some new growth. And then over here I've got a baby squamiferum philodendron and baby squamiferum philodendron. And then over here I've got a cutting of a Monstera adansonii narrow-form cutting, and that's growing quite happily now. And then I've got my absolute pride and joy with this newest leaf, pushing out a new leaf as well, which seems to be really happy, my Monstera obliqua. Look at that. Isn't it stunning? Oh. And then over here I've got a Philodendron mammii, which is a rescue sale plant, and it's pushing out some new growth here at the top. So I'm hoping that that leaf kind of disappears, and then this leaf is a really lovely leaf, like these ones down here. And I got this for £5 and I'm really happy about it. It's really cute. Got that from Plant Me in Rugby. And then over here I've got a Calathea that is not looking its best, but we keep it here, just growing. It's now in here to stop it from this happening, and I'm hoping it pushes out some new growth. I'm ordering some soil for it as well. And then in this corner over here we have another mint variegata cutting that's pushing out some new growth. This is the mother plant. It did have leaves, but they went yellow and I pulled them all off, and since then it's pushed out 2 lots of new growth, so I'm hoping they both take. And yeah, I'm hoping they both take and they both grow. And then I've got another Oxalis triangularis purpura cutting, which is a single bulb and has pushed out 1 single leaf, and I love it. And then over here we have a Monstera adansonii variegata cutting that I took, and it's pushed out some new growth, and another one over here that I thought was reverting, but it's pushed out an all white leaf, and I'm really happy about that. So, and it looks like it's about to push out another leaf as well. So that is all of the plants on this shelf. Here we have a rescue from what I gave root rot to and took the cuttings from to try and salvage the plant, and now it's pushed out some new growth, and it looks like it's going to push out an actual leaf now. And this is a Philodendron verrucosum, and I'm really excited about that. I'm so happy about it. You can't see it very well, but be excited because I am. Yay! We have a plant swap cutting from Terry of Syngonium mojito. Look how cute it is. Isn't it adorable? That variegation as well. Thank you, Terry. And then we have another Oxalis triangularis purpura. And then we have a couple of cuttings of Tradescantia pallida, which aren't looking great, but they are growing, so I'm happy about that. And one just fell off. And then over here I've got Philodendron micans, Cebu blue cutting from Terry in a plant swap that she gave me, and this Philodendron micans just dropped off, and then also a Monstera siltipicana cutting that I just took because one day I'm going to give that to my mum. So all of these seem to be rooting quite well in perlite and water. I'm just leaving them to it for a little while until they're well rooted, and then I can plant them up into soil. And I also need to get soil, so. And then we have a mystery cutting. I don't know what this plant is, but it's really cute, so I'm keeping it. And it's growing in sphagnum moss, and I don't know what it is, but one day we'll find out when it's grown and matured. And then we have my rescue as well, which is all green now, which should be purple. Tradescantia pallida, and this is a beautiful plant when it's purple, but beautiful when it's green as well. And Luna basically ate most of it. She just nibbled it off and then played with it, and it was heartbreaking to watch. But that's that plant there. And then we have a couple of cuttings of Monstera adansonii wide form, some wet stick cuttings. And these two are 2 Oxalis triangularis bulbs that I'm trying to get to shoot, and they've pushed out some growth, but it's tiny. And this one hasn't yet, so I'm hoping it will. And then a Philodendron melanochrysum cutting that also had root rot, and I am trying to save, and it's pushing out a new leaf, so I'm really excited about that as well, so be excited. The only time I cheer is for plants. And then I've got a cutting of a Rhaphidophora tetrasperma that I saved, and this was a wet stick cutting, and now it's thriving and it's giving off fenestrations. And I'm just going to keep it in the greenhouse for now until it's a little bit more mature, and then I'll keep it out on somewhere. I'm not sure where. I've got limited space, as you can tell, but we're going to make more soon. Yay! And I'm going to be upgrading this greenhouse situation too. And then I've got another Rhaphidophora tetrasperma wet stick cutting that has since rotted away, but the new growth it has flourished in sphagnum moss. And then I have Monstera mint variegata cutting, which is growing a treat. And I have to keep them out of the way of Luna because she likes to nibble them, and this one's pushing out some new growth again. And in here we have a mint variegata cutting as well in sphagnum moss and clay balls and perlite mixture as well to see if it can save it, and it's pushed out some new growth as well, so hopefully this will keep growing. And then in here we've got a couple of cuttings of Monstera mint variegata in leca in clay balls and water, and they are growing really well. They're pushing out some new growth as well. And then we have a philodendron, either melanochrysum or varicosum. I'm not entirely sure which one it is, but it's growing in sphagnum moss. I'm not sure if this one's going to survive, but we're giving it a good chance, and just leaving it in there because these wet stick cuttings are pushing out some new growth, and this is either a philodendron varicosum or melanochrysum, and it's pushed out some new growth, as you can see there. And then over here we have a Monstera obliqua cutting growing in clay balls, perlite and sphagnum moss as well. And I've got another one here which has pushed out some new growth just here, and I'm wondering if that's going to be a runner or a leaf, because the reason I propped this was because it had a runner come out, and this is the mother plant just here. And then last but not least, we have a cutting from a Monstera albo wet stick cutting, and then 5 wet stick cuttings from the runner of the Monstera obliqua, and they're all just chilling in perlite and water here, and I'm waiting for them to push out some growth. Some of them have. The elbow is new, I only added it yesterday. So yeah, that is all of the plants that I have. That was everything that I wanted to show you in regards to all of my plants that I have. And I'm really excited to share these with you. I'm going to be talking more about them in depth soon. I'll be making individual videos about each plant as well, and the care guide to them, as well as a blog post that goes with it. So it will be easy to read as well as savable and things like that. So hopefully that will be of use to you guys as well, and it will be really fun for me to like kind of get my head into knowing all of these plants more and learning more about them as well, because some of them I had bought recently. But thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. See you soon. Bye!